So I'm here with Sam Reid from Guided. We've just been talking about crowdsourcing, and he's just going to give us an opinion on how brands can use it, and talk a little bit about how some brands are using it as a marketing tool, and how other brands are using it more in more constructive ways.
Yeah, well, I think crowdsourcing on its own can't handle kind of complex problems unless the members of that crowd have the specific expertise to understand the problem itself. I mean, at Guided, we don't consider ourselves a crowdsourcing agency. We're more of a hybrid. So we've looked at crowdsourcing, we've looked at traditional agencies, and we've kind of formed something in the middle which we think will equip us to kind of evolve into the new habitat. There's some brilliant examples of pure kind of crowdsourcing that ad agencies can use, or to use in marketing terms. For instance, like the Dorito stuff, they might get 20,000 responses, or there was the Queensland Tourist Board Best Job in the World campaign, which then got turned into a television. So open source to kind of engage people on quite a large level. Yeah, I mean, I think you know, what we spent a lot of our time looking at the kind of the research sort of behind it, and the MIT paper, and what it shows is that to get crowds to work in specific ways, you've got certain incentives, and it's about having the right size crowd, the right people within that crowd, and then the right questions that you ask them. So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of solution, and there's lots of intricacies to it, and patterns will emerge, and patterns are forming.
We spoke earlier as well about events and stuff, and like one of the things you mentioned was that when a brand approaches you, like one of the questions you ask is, you know, do you want to be seen at an event or something, or do you want to be part of the conversation? Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, with Guided, our aim is to say, well, we want to kind of create lots of things for a brand. So we've got the strategy. Basically, the strategy talks about the business problem. The business problem we turn into a brief. That brief goes to our creative network. That network involves everything from really cool film producers to record people to product designers to fashion experts to PR people. What we say is that, you know, the creativity should inform the media, and kind of not the other way around. So if something needs an iPhone app, or if it needs something in print, or if it needs a live event, if it needs to be there and it can be there meaningfully, that's what we'll do. So it's the combination of all of those things that happen together in parallel that get people talking about you. So you're being part of the conversation and accepting that you can't own it. And that's sort of what we say to brands with it. It's like, do you want to be seen? Do you want to interrupt people? Or do you want to be talked about? And do you want to be kind of cared? And, you know, do you want to be sort of, I guess, for a brand to look at things in a much more kind of benevolent way, to become like a benefactor of content rather than the owner of content, and the kind of the more sort of bolshy sort of interruptive approach. That was relevant to times when we had the kind of above the line thing, and that's all we have to work with. But to kind of go into this really fragmented landscape, it's very easy to sidestep traditional marketing. You know, and what's more, you know, if you're going to want someone's attention, you know, why don't you try earning it instead of trying to nick it? You know, and that's what we want to do. And our view is to create that sort of stuff. A creative department that's doing that kind of thing culturally anyway, they're the best placed people to do that. Also, they need to be augmented by the kind of more experienced art directors and copywriters that understand kind of clients' needs. So it's a balance.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Sam.